In 1942, a military base in the unincorporated area of Santa Ana, which was known at the time as Santa Ana Naval Air Station, was built. Two wooden hangars were originally built in 1942 to store large blimps that the U.S. Navy used to patrol the Southern California coast for enemy submarines during World War II. These wooden hangars, which took about 6 months to build, were huge. Both hangars were identical, standing 17 stories tall, over 1,300 feet long, and 300 feet wide. Each hangar cost $2.5 million to build. The wooden structures were made of Oregon Douglas fir with concrete towers and door panels. 6 concrete panels weighing 30 tons were used to make each door. The doors were connected with a roller on the top and a rail on the bottom. If the doors ever came off track, special equipment had to be sent in from out of state to lift them back into place. Helium was delivered to the blimps through an underground pipeline that ran from the hangars to a nearby helium plant. The hangars were listed as 2 of the largest wooden structures to ever be built in the world, and they were classified as historic civil engineering landmarks in the United States. The hangars were used in the 1945 movie This Man's Navy, which was shot and released during the actual war. The buildings were decommissioned in 1949 after the blimp base was no longer needed. In the early 1950s, the facility was known as the Hangar City during a period between being operated by the Navy and then by the Marines. Later, the name was changed to the Marine Corps Air Station Tustin. The 2 hangars even held their own weather on occasion. In the mornings, the Marine layer would enter the hangar when the doors opened. As the day went on, the Marine layer would lift toward the ceiling, becoming trapped. The moisture then would fall to the ground as it condensed, creating something like a weather system inside the massive structures. In 1975, the movie The Hindenburg was shot at the North Hangar. Each of these 17-story tall hangars could house 6 blimps and mini helicopters. The base was named Marine Corps Air Station Santa Ana in 1966 and would be renamed Marine Corps Air Station Tustin in 1979. About 4,500 residents once lived on the base, and the base employed nearly 5,000 military personnel and civilians. In addition to providing military support, the base leased 530 acres to farmers for commercial crop development. For many years, agricultural lands surrounded the facility. However, beginning in the 1980s, residential and light industrial manufacturing areas developed adjacent to the station. In July of 1999, operational closure of the base occurred. In later years, the hangars would be used for car shows, religious ceremonies, races, and other community-based events. The North Hangar also served as a film location for several World War II period dramas, including Pearl Harbor in 2001. The South Hangar and the former base was also featured in numerous TV shows and movies. Its interior was transformed to become the surface of the moon for the 1998 HBO miniseries, From the Earth to the Moon. In Season 6, Episode 12 of The X-Files, the South Hangar showed up in the meeting place between U.S. government leaders and extraterrestrial rebels. The episode aired in 1999. That same year, Austin Powers, the spy who shagged me, used the base to operate a time machine in the shape of a Volkswagen Beetle that would transport Austin Powers back to 1969. The hangar would have its Hollywood moment in the 2009 movie Star Trek. Towards the film's conclusion, it is inside the hangar where Spock meets his future self, in a symbolic passing of the torch within the classic sci-fi franchise. In early October of 2013, Aeros officials say a piece of the wood fell from the World War II era hangar, and engineers were called to assess the structure. A week later, a 25-foot chunk of the roof fell 17 stories, with some debris puncturing the experimental aircraft. The north hangar was damaged in that windstorm that made it too unusable for use. It has remained off limits to film crews since the roof was already starting to collapse. But that didn't stop 3 people from trespassing and scaling the building in 2019. One of them, a teen who was found unconscious, had to be airlifted from the top of the north hangar. For over 10 years, plans were in the works to demo that north hangar. It was structurally unstable and was abandoned. But on November 7th, 2023 at 1 a.m.,
To some breaking news in Orange County, a stubborn fire continues to burn through a historic hangar at the former Tustin Marine Corps base. Firefighters have not been able to attack the flames from inside due to concerns the building could collapse. KTLA.
Other news, a World War II era hangar, a big part of the history of Southern California, is now in ruins after fire burned through the building this morning. News Chopper 4 captured the moment the roof collapsed there. More than 12 hours later, that fire is still not out. NBC4's Conan Nolan has more on the hangar's significant history at Tustin Air Base.
On November 7th, 2023, at approximately 12:30 in the morning, a 3-alarm fire broke out on the roof of the north hangar. Orange County Fire Authority units responded, adapting a defensive strategy and letting it burn due to the risk of roof collapse. Water-dropping aircraft were even deployed to put out the fire. The sheer size of the structure made it unsafe for firefighters to knock out the fire. An investigation has been opened into the cause of the fire. After hearing about the November 7th fire and witnessing it on TV, I decided to take a drive and visit the iconic Orange County landmark. I have driven by the Blimp hangars, as we call it, many times over the decades. I couldn't remember a time when I didn't look for it. It was a good point of reference and also a landmark you couldn't miss. I decided to drive around the whole structure, and fortunately, there are plenty of streets that are next to the structure. It looks like half of the side of the walls are still standing, but as you go around, you can see the devastation that the fire caused to this historical landmark. From this angle, you can see that the walls are still standing, giving the observer a false sense that the building wasn't badly damaged. But driving over to the other side, you can see that the fire destroyed most of the wooden structure, leaving only the concrete doors and the cement supports at the base. Although the fire had occurred 2 days earlier, the rubble and debris were still smoldering. When I was there on November 9th, 2 days after the fire, a ton of cars were parked and many people were out around the fence to take in this spectacle and see what happened to this building. I believe that they will tear the rest of this hangar down and build homes on top of it. What are your memories of this place? Leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. Thank you for watching. If you like this content, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Thanks.